couple months ago, I visited the Alamo, and the Alamo is one of my favorite historical landmarks, and that story is for another video. Anyways, as I was in there, I overheard some kids starting to get a little annoyed, and it's a stuffy space, and they were starting to complain, and I heard the dad, and this was such a cool experience. I heard the dad go to his kids, shh, this is their culture, this is their history. We're going to be respectful, and we're going to honor them, just the same as we'd want them to honor us. And I thought, wow, what an amazing teaching point for that father to teach to his kids, to teach them about respect, about honor, about appreciation of others' cultures, and to reinforce it about this is how we want them to treat us. Right? There's that old adage, you treat somebody like you'd want them to treat you. Yet so often we don't, and then we expect them to treat us in a certain way. Now to contrast that, about an hour or so later I was walking down the street, and there was a lady, her two kids that were probably about between 8 and 10 years old, and her mom. And this lady was screaming at her mother, cussing at her, swearing at her. This is your fault that we're lost. We can't even figure it out. I wanted to go that way and you wanted to go that way, and now we're lost and we've wasted this time and they want to eat. And what I saw was the kids were just hanging their head like this. And they're kind of walking and they're sauntering along behind mom and they just look so ashamed. Versus the kids at the Alamo, after their dad told them that, they stood with pride. Because they realized how they had an opportunity to do something really special. They could honor another culture, they could learn, they could be respectful. And how much their dad valued it and they wanted his love, right? And so they respond a certain way. Versus these kids, now they're responding, they're just hanging their heads and they're so ashamed. Mom's sitting there yelling at grandma, cussing her out. And I thought, wow, what a contrast. What a contrast. And it reminded me something for parents out there is that the words you speak to your kids, they're going to create the realities. You got to remember, our kids, they're learning, they're growing, they're like these little sponges, and then what you feed it is what they're going to soak up. For better or worse. For better or worse, your kids are going to take in what you teach them. And if you choose to fill their head with anger and frustration and pointing the finger of blame, guess what? Don't be surprised if they grow up and start blaming you. Versus the other hand, about having the opportunity to teach your kids about honor, respect, love, compassion, being mindful, treating others as you'd want to be treated. I understand, yes, everybody gets frustrated, and I understand that people get angry, and I understand that we all have emotions that boil up sometimes. And it is a responsibility as a parent to step up your game that much more and be mindful of what you speak in front of your kids. You are creating their reality. One time will come where they'll be able to start sorting out things for themselves, but in the interim, you are creating their reality. You are their guide. So you got to ask yourself, what do you want to guide your kids towards? Do you want to guide them towards the parent like the parent in the Alamo is? Or do you want to guide them like the parent on the street is? Do you want to guide your kids towards happiness, greatness, fulfillment, joy, understanding that they're in charge of their life? Or do you want to guide them to, when you're upset and frustrated, you're going to point the finger and blame it at somebody else instead of taking responsibility? Do you want to guide your kids and teach them about love and respect? Or you want to guide your kids and say, hey, when things boil up, yell at your mom. Be pissed and angry at her. What do you want to do? Parents, you have an amazing opportunity to fill your kids with so much wonderful and good things. I believe at any given moment we are literally a generation away from the world radically changing. And that change can start with you. What you speak to your kids, it's going to make up the next world. I'll talk to you all soon. If you enjoyed today's video, please click the like button, make sure you subscribe, and leave a comment. I would love to hear your feedback. I always enjoy reading them. And if you have any suggestions or ideas or things that you'd want me to talk about in the future, leave them below too. And most importantly, remember to share this with your friends and family, anyone who you think would find value in it. Thank you so much.